Rock music didn't grow in a straight line, it erupted in waves. Across decades, certain albums didn't just entertain. They redefined culture, reshaped genres, and changed the direction of music history. These records became milestones, influencing generations of musicians and listeners. Today, we count down the top 10 rock albums ever. Grounded in authoritative rankings from Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Albums and supported by Billboard chart data. This list isn't about personal favorites. It's about the albums that built the foundation of modern rock. 10. The Beatles. Rubber Soul, 1965. When Rubber Soul arrived in December 1965, it marked a dramatic turning point for the Beatles. Gone were the days of simple pop love songs. In their place came introspective lyrics, mature themes, and a new sonic palette, inspired heavily by Bob Dylan's folk rock movement. The band experimented with new instruments, including George Harrison's sitar on Norwegian Wood, one of the first times the instrument appeared in mainstream Western music. The album's cohesive tone and emotional depth signaled that rock could be more than entertainment. It could be art. Critics immediately recognized its importance. And Rolling Stone continues to rank Rubber Soul among the greatest albums ever made. It set the stage for the band's most innovative period and influenced countless artists who saw for the first time how personal and poetic rock music could become. Key facts. Released December 1965. Marked the Beatles' shift from pop idols to serious artists. Heavy influence from Bob Dylan's folk rock movement. Norwegian Wood introduced the sitar to mainstream rock. Rolling Stone ranks it among the greatest albums ever. Impact. Rubber Soul expanded rock's emotional and lyrical depth, proving albums could be introspective, literary, and sonically adventurous. 9. Bob Dylan, Highway 61, Revisited 1965. Bob Dylan's Highway 61 Revisited exploded onto the scene in August 1965, igniting one of the most controversial and transformative moments in rock history. Dylan's decision to go electric at the Newport Folk Festival shocked purists, but the resulting album proved he was ahead of his time. The record opens with Like a Rolling Stone, a 6-minute cultural detonation that shattered the boundaries of what rock lyrics could express. Dylan's surreal, confrontational storytelling blended with electric guitars and chaotic energy, creating a new blueprint for rock songwriting. The album's title references the legendary highway that runs from Minnesota to New Orleans, a symbolic road through American music and mythology. Rolling Stone ranks Highway 61, Revisited, among the top albums ever recorded. And its influence can be heard in every artist who uses rock as a vehicle for poetry, rebellion, and social commentary. Key facts. Released August 1965. Dylan's controversial electric transformation at Newport shocked fans. Like a Rolling Stone became a cultural explosion, redefining rock lyricism. Ranked number 4 in Rolling Stone's all-time list, Impact. This album made rock intellectual, confrontational, and poetic, influencing every songwriter who followed. 8. The Clash. London Calling 1979 to 30 to 320. Released in December 1979, London Calling is a sprawling, genre-defying double album that captured the political tension and cultural upheaval of late 70s Britain. The Clash blended punk's raw energy with reggae, ska, rockabilly, and even pop, creating a sound that was both rebellious and musically ambitious. The album's iconic cover, Paul Simonon, smashing his bass guitar, intentionally mimics the typography of Elvis Presley's debut album, symbolizing a new era of rock rebellion. Songs like London Calling, Clamptown, and Train in Vain showcased the band's ability to merge social commentary with infectious rhythms. Rolling Stone ranks London Calling among the greatest albums of all time, praising its fearless experimentation and global influence. It proved punk could evolve beyond three chords and attitude, becoming a powerful voice for political and cultural change. Key facts. Released December 1979. Fuses punk, reggae, ska, rockabilly, and political commentary. The cover mimics Elvis Presley's debut album Typography. Ranked number 8 in Rolling Stone's top albums. Impact. London Calling proved punk could be musically ambitious, globally influential, and socially conscious. 7. The Rolling Stones. Exile on Main Send 1972 322 for 10. Exile on Main Send emerged from chaos, boarded in a humid basement in the south of France, while the band fled the UK's crushing tax laws. The sessions were disorganized, sweaty, and fueled by exhaustion and excess. Yet from this turmoil came one of the most celebrated albums in rock history. Released in May 1972, Exile is a gritty double album that blends blues, gospel, country, and rock into a raw, unpolished masterpiece. Its murky production and loose performances give it a timeless authenticity, a portrait of a band living on instinct. Songs like Tumbling Dice and Rocks Off capture the Stones at their most primal. Rolling Stone ranks Exile on Main Est among the top albums ever made, praising its depth, atmosphere, and influence on American roots rock. It remains a testament to the beauty that can emerge from disorder. Key facts. Released May 1972. Recorded in a humid basement in France while the band fled UK tax issues. A double album blending blues, gospel, country, and rock. Ranked number 7 in Rolling Stone's top albums. Impact. A gritty, sprawling masterpiece that defined the sound of American roots rock. 6. Marvin Gaye. What's Going On 1971. When Marvin Gaye released What's Going On in May 1971, he shattered expectations of what a Motown artist could create. The album is told from the perspective of a Vietnam veteran returning home to a nation filled with poverty, war, environmental destruction, and social unrest. Gaye's voice floats over lush orchestration, creating a spiritual, almost cinematic experience. Songs like Mercy, Mercy Me, and Inner City Blues confront issues that mainstream music rarely touched at the time. The album's seamless transitions and unified themes make it one of the earliest and most powerful concept albums in rock history. Rolling Stone's 2020 list ranked What's Going On as the greatest album ever made, recognizing its emotional depth and cultural impact. It expanded rock's thematic reach, proving music could be both beautiful and politically urgent. Key facts. Released May 1971. A concept album told from the perspective of a Vietnam veteran returning home. Themes: poverty, war, environmentalism, injustice. Ranked number 1 in Rolling Stone's 2020 list. Impact. It expanded rock's thematic reach, proving albums could be political, spiritual, and socially conscious. 5. Pink Floyd. The Dark Side of the Moon, 1973. Released in March 1973. The Dark Side of the Moon is one of the most iconic and technically advanced albums ever recorded. Its exploration of time, death, greed, and mental health resonated deeply with listeners, turning the album into a cultural phenomenon. The record's production was groundbreaking, engineered by Alan Parsons. It featured synthesizers, tape loops, spoken word passages, and innovative studio techniques that were decades ahead of their time. The album's commercial success is legendary. It spent 741 weeks on the Billboard 200, one of the longest chart runs in history. Tracks like Time, Money, and Us and Them showcased the band's ability to merge philosophical themes with immersive soundscapes. Dark Side transformed the album format into a cinematic experience and remains one of the most influential works in progressive rock. Key facts. Released March 1973. Spent 741 weeks on the Billboard 200, one of the longest chart runs in history. Themes: time, death, greed, mental health. Engineered by Alan Parsons. Pioneering use of synthesizers and tape loops. Impact. Turned the album format into a cinematic experience, influencing progressive rock and modern production. 4. Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin 4, 1971. When Led Zeppelin released their untitled fourth album in November 1971, commonly known as Led Zeppelin 4, it created one of the most enduring records in rock history. The band intentionally left the album without a title or band name on the cover, letting the music speak for itself. Inside, listeners found a fusion of hard rock, folk, and mysticism, anchored by Jimmy Page's guitar wizardry and Robert Plant's soaring vocals. Stairway to Heaven, the album's centerpiece, became one of the most played songs in rock radio history and a defining moment for the band. The album also features classics like Black Dog, Rock and Roll, and Going to California, each showcasing a different facet of Zeppelin's musical identity. Rolling Stone consistently ranks Led Zeppelin 4 among the greatest albums ever, recognizing its massive influence on hard rock and heavy metal. Key facts. Released November 1971. Contains Stairway to Heaven, one of the most played songs in rock radio history. Blends hard rock, folk, and mysticism. Ranked among top rock albums by Rolling Stone. Impact. Set the blueprint for guitar-driven rock and influenced every hard rock band that followed. 3. Nirvana. Nevermind 1991. Nevermind didn't just arrive, it detonated. Released in September 1991. The album unexpectedly knocked Michael Jackson's Dangerous off the top of the Billboard charts, signaling a seismic shift in popular music. Nirvana's raw, unfiltered sound, driven by Kurt Cobain's explosive songwriting, brought grunge into the mainstream and ended the glam metal era overnight. Smells Like Teen Spirit became the anthem of Generation X, capturing the frustration, apathy, and rebellion of early 90s youth. The album's production, handled by Butch Vig, balanced punk aggression with melodic clarity, creating a sound that was both chaotic and accessible. Rolling Stone ranks Nevermind among the most influential albums of all time, praising its cultural impact and lasting legacy. It redefined what mainstream rock could sound like, and opened the door for alternative music to dominate the decade. Key facts. Released September 1991. Reached number 1 on Billboard, dethroning Michael Jackson's Dangerous. Smells Like Teen Spirit became the anthem of Generation X. Ranked number 17 in Rolling Stone's list. Impact. Ended the glam metal era overnight and redefined mainstream rock with raw authenticity. 4. To the Beatles. Revolver 1966. Released in August 1966, Revolver is widely considered one of the most innovative albums ever recorded. The Beatles embraced studio experimentation using tape loops, reverse guitar effects, and psychedelic production techniques that were revolutionary for the time. Tomorrow Never Knows, inspired by the Tibetan Book of the Dead, features a hypnotic drum pattern and swirling sound effects that pushed rock into uncharted territory. The album also includes Eleanor Rigby, a haunting, string-driven narrative that showcased the band's willingness to break from traditional rock instrumentation. Revolver marked the moment when the studio became an instrument itself, allowing the band to explore new sonic landscapes. Rolling Stone ranks it among the top albums ever made, recognizing its profound influence on modern production and psychedelic rock. Key facts. Released August 1966. Introduced tape loops, reverse guitar, and psychedelic studio techniques. Tomorrow Never Knows. Used experimental recording methods, decades ahead of its time. Ranked number 3 in Rolling Stone's top albums, Impact. Reinvented studio production and pushed rock into the future. 1. The Beatles. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, 1967. When Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band arrived in June 1967, it changed everything. The Beatles adopted fictional personas, creating a concept album that blended psychedelia, orchestration, and storytelling into a unified artistic statement. Producer George Martin played a crucial role, using advanced studio techniques to craft songs that felt larger than life. A Day in the Life, the album's dramatic finale, combined 2 separate song fragments into a haunting masterpiece, punctuated by a massive orchestral crescendo. The album's cover, featuring dozens of cultural icons, became one of the most recognizable images in music history. Rolling Stone originally ranked Sgt. Pepper as the greatest album ever made, praising its innovation, ambition, and cultural impact. It set the standard for the album as art, concept, and influenced virtually every major rock act that followed. Released June 1967. Rolling Stone originally ranked it number 1 greatest album of all time. A concept album, blending psychedelia, orchestration, and storytelling. Featured groundbreaking production by George Martin. Impact. Defined the idea of the album as a unified work of art, influencing virtually every major rock act that followed. These 10 albums didn't just dominate charts, they reshaped culture, redefined genres, and expanded the possibilities of rock music. From the Beatles' groundbreaking innovation to Pink Floyd's Sonic Universe and Nirvana's cultural shockwave, these records stand as the pillars of rock history. They are essential listening for anyone who wants to understand how rock became the global force it is today. This is Theo, where music history comes alive. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and consider subscribing to my channel.